Hello, everyone. In respect of everybody's time, we'll get started now. Thanks so much for joining us today. Welcome. I'm Warren Miles Pickup, and I'm the CMO of Pixel True. I have worked with thousands of different businesses in order to help them to build out their product offering, to market their services or products, to help them understand how and why their clients buy. And today you're joining us for a pivotal webinar on creating high converting call to actions. This isn't just about crafting a button that says click here. It's about fundamentally understanding and leveraging the moments that guide a visitor to become an active participant and a loyal customer in your business through your website or landing page. So you're here because obviously you understand that in a digital marketplace, the difference between a browser and a buyer lies in just a few decisive moments. CTAs that either make or break a sale. It's essential because without effective CTAs, even the best content remains underutilized potential. You might be leaving significant revenue on the table each day without even knowing it by not having the best CTA possible. So, what happens if you continue on this path? Well, imagine spending your resources, whether that's time, effort, money, on crafting your perfect services and product, only to watch the potential customers leave your website because your call to action didn't speak to them effectively. It's like fishing without a hook. And for those of you that know me, know that I used to be a fishing guide. And so it's a great analogy that I love to use. On the other hand, having a high converting CTA can be the hook that not only catches, but securely lands the fish. Think of it as a barbed hook versus a barbless hook. Today, we're going to solve this by going beyond the basics of CTAs. We're going to dive into the strategic frameworks and psychological triggers that make people click both literally and figuratively. This is where our expertise at Pixel True really shines through. So at Pixel True, we're not just about aesthetics. We want to make things look pretty, but we're really focused on harnessing heuristics and the core principles of human psychology to design websites that expedite the sales process. Heuristics, just in case you don't know, are essentially the shortcuts that our brain creates to analyze the thousands and thousands of data points that we need to make a decision into a few very simple data points so that they can streamline how your brain makes decision. So our approach when we're designing and building is based on understanding that human behavior, so that we can craft experiences that are not only visually appealing but are strategically structured to guide visitors swiftly from curiosity to conversion. So why Pixel True? Because we specialize in this exact challenge. We utilize cognitive biases and proven heuristics to design CTAs that deeply resonate and drive action. So after today, not only will you understand the importance of a well-crafted CTA, but you'll be equipped with the tools to create your own, or even better, have us at Pixel True enhance your digital assets for maximum conversions. So let's get started by exploring why CTAs are indispensable tools in your digital marketing arsenal and how you can begin to transform your passive website traffic into active customer engagements right now. So let's start with something impactful. 90% of people who read the headline on your website are also going to read your CTA. The statistic isn't just a number, it's a glimpse into the power of call to actions. A compelling CTA is more than just a button, it's a psychological nudge. Imagine browsing a website, you're intrigued by what you see, and there it is, a CTA that says learn more or get started. It's your decision point. The right CTA can be the difference between that person bouncing and that person becoming a conversion, turning that passive interest into active engagement. By the end of our session today, you'll know how to transform that potential into measurable business growth. So I want to give you a real world example just to kind of set the tone for today. So here's the background. HubSpot, a CRM platform, specializes in inbound marketing and sales software. Over the years, they've continuously optimized their website and their marketing strategies to increase the conversions that they get. So their original CTA had a challenge. HubSpot noticed that while they had significant traffic to their blog, the conversion rate for their free trial signup was not as high as they wanted. The original CTA on many of their blog posts was simply learn more, and it was placed at the end of the articles. So, to address this, HubSpot tested different versions of their CTA, both in phrasing and in placement. They moved from a generic, excuse me, they moved from a generic learn more to a more action-oriented CTA like get started with free tools or try HubSpot's marketing software free. They also experimented with the placement of these CTAs, trying them both in line with the content and as a floating banner that appeared as users scrolled. So, what were the results? One of the most effective changes was using a slide in CTA that appeared as users neared the end of the article. So, this CTA was not only engaging, excuse me, this CTA was not only engaging because of its dynamic nature, but it was also timed perfectly to capture users' interest when they had just consumed that valuable content. So the change led to a significant increase in the conversions that they were seeing on the page, and the specific metrics from HubSpot indicated that slide CTAs doubled their conversion rates compared to other static CTAs. So, what contributed to these factors? So, timing and placement. The slide in CTA appeared at a moment when readers were the most likely to be engaged and found value in the content, making them more receptive to the offer. Additionally, they used action oriented language. So, the CTA that they used was clear, actionable, and it prompted immediate response. In addition, it was relevant. So the offer in the CTA was closely related to the content of the blog, which made it more compelling and relevant to that attracted audience. So, what's the takeaway from this? HubSpot's experience underscores the importance of not just the content of a CTA, but its context and placement within the user journey. By making the CTA dynamic and more closely aligned with the user's engagement, they were able to significantly enhance its effectiveness, demonstrating the critical role of well crafted CTAs in converting visitors into leads and customers. So, we're talking about a doubling in their conversions. If you're seeing thousands of visitors to a page on a monthly basis because of SEO or pay per click, you can imagine that going from a 2% conversion rate to a 4% conversion rate is going to lead to hundreds of new leads that you can then develop a relationship with and potentially convert into new customers. So, what are the types of calls to action? So CTAs are not a one size fits all type of solution. Each type serves a unique purpose in your customer journey. For instance, a download now CTA under a resource guide aims to capture leads, inviting users to exchange their contact info for value that they're receiving from you. You can contrast this Buy Now button, which is direct, catering to those that are already ready to make a purchase. Then there's engagement CTAs like join the discussion, which enhance user interaction with your brand. By understanding these different types, you can tailor your approach to meet the specific goals and make it relevant to the content that you're presenting. So, a couple other examples of lead generation CTA. So this could be download your free ebook now. So it encourages users to provide their email in exchange for valuable content. Register for the webinar now. It's capturing contact details through registrations for an event. That's what we've used here today. Claim your free consultation offers a personal touch to gather leads by offering expert advice. Then you've got your purchase CTAs. So something like add to cart, save 20% now, directs users to make a purchase with a discount incentive, buy now and get free shipping. Very similar to that. Secure your copy before they're gone, using scarcity to urge users to act fast. And we're going to get more into that in another slide. Then there's engagement CTAs. Join the conversation on social media. Leave a comment below. Subscribe to our channel for more. These are all meant to build engagement, which can then further drive any type of social media engagement that you're already utilizing. Then you've got social share CTAs. So this would be something like share this with your friends, help others by sharing the story, or tweet this quote. These are providing users with specific shareable snippets of content in order to, again, increase engagement and your exposure on social media. Then you've got things like subscription CTA. So subscribe for exclusive updates, get monthly tips direct to your inbox, join our VIP club for special offers. These are all meant to create exclusivity heuristics and drive people to want to click because of that. Then you've got event promotion CTAs, secure your spot today. book a spot on our next adventure, RSVP now to be part of the experience, right? It's urging people to join and register to be a part of something. You're really triggering that FOMO aspect. And then you've got feedback CTAs, like tell us what you think, vote for your favorite option, and complete our survey for a chance to win. So, what is the anatomy of a high converting CTA? So, crafting a CTA that truly converts is about much more than just telling your audience what to do. It's about designing a really clear pathway that makes the next steps in the process irresistible. So, let's break down this anatomy into four key components: actionable language, urgency, value driven, and visibility. So, understanding each of these will help you to transform your call to action from a mere button to a conversion powerhouse. So, let's start with actionable language. This is about being clear and direct with your audience. Your CTA needs to use verbs that incite action. Verbs like get, start, discover, learn. These aren't just prompts, they're commands that encourage immediate response. For example, download your guide now tells the user exactly what they will receive and what action they need to take, eliminating any sense of ambiguity or question in their minds of how they should take the next step. The next one is urgency. So, why is urgency important? It's because it compels action now. It creates a sense of limited time or availability, which taps into a fundamental fear, human fear of missing out. You've seen CTAs like sale ends midnight or only 5 seats left, or a great one on booking.com is so many people have booked this in the last 24 hours. Don't miss out before all the rooms are booked. What they're doing is subtly prompting the user that if they don't act now, they might lose their chance. It's about making your offer too timely and too good to be passed up. So the third is value driven. We want to ensure that CTA is value driven, and this is an area where a lot of CTAs fall short. They fail to communicate the benefit clearly and compellingly. Your audience should know exactly what's in it for them the moment they read your CTA. If your CTA is join now, make it join now and get instant access to exclusive tips. You want to show the user that clicking this button is directly beneficial to them. Remember that your users are there to get a benefit for them. They're not there for your benefit. And so you need to ensure that you are showcasing to them what it is that they're going to get from something. So let's talk about visibility. A high converting CTA cannot be overlooked. It should stand out visually on your page, often using contrasting colors or dynamic designs that draw the eye. We're going to talk a little bit more about this later as well. So that placement is crucial. Your CTA should ideally be positioned above the fold, and we'll talk about that on another slide on your website, meaning it's visible without needing to scroll down. It should be one of the first things a visitor sees because it's the first impression that is vital to digital interactions. So by mastering these four components, you'll be able to create CTAs that not only catch the eye, but also convincingly encourage your customers to click. Remember that each element of your CTA, from the wording to the design, should be deliberate and designed to guide your users towards taking that action that you want. Think of your CTA as a gateway, one that leads your audience directly from interest to action seamlessly and effectively. So, how do we write actionable CTAs? So, as we dive deeper into creating actionable CTAs, let's focus on the psychological impact of the words we choose. So, at Pixel True, we talked about this in the introduction. We leverage psychology-based design strategies to craft CTAs that not only look appealing, but also resonate on an emotional and emotive level with our audience. So, this approach dramatically increases the likelihood of conversions. So, number one, the choice of words. The words in your CTA are more than just instructions. They're triggers that evoke emotions and responses that drive action. For instance, if you're using verbs like discover, unlock, or achieve, these tap into a deeper desire for personal growth and curiosity. They're not just actions, they're invitations to an experience. When we tell someone, discover your potential, we're not just asking them to click a button, we're inviting them to embark on a personal journey that is personal to them. Number two, emotional triggers. So emotional triggers can significantly affect the effectiveness of your CTA. Consider the difference in impact between buy now and reserve your spot. The latter not only suggests an action, but also implies exclusivity and urgency that can create that FOMO aspect. This psychological trigger is powerful because it taps into a social bias, a heuristic, where people are inclined to join because others are as well. Nobody wants to be left out, and so they're more likely to click in the event that they feel that others are already enjoying the benefits of this. Um, it's also essential that your CTA have positive reinforcement. So this means highlighting the positive outcome of taking action. For example, start feeling better today for a wellness app plays directly into the immediate benefit of using the product. It's comforting, encouraging, and promises a positive change for the user. By framing your CTA around the immediate rewards and benefits that they're going to receive, you cater to the instant gratification that we are all often seeking. So, lastly, while tapping into all these psychological principles, remember the importance of keeping your CTA simple and clear. The more straightforward your CTA, the better. Complexity can dilute the emotional punch and the urgency of your message. A CTA like Get Started Now is direct and leaves no room for ambiguity about what they should expect next. So, by understanding and utilizing these psychological principles in your CTAs, you'll be able to craft the messages not only drive clicks, but also build that deeper connection with your audience. This is where Pixel True's expertise in psychology based design strategies really shines through, and it helps you to transform standard CTAs into powerful psychological triggers that convert your visitors into customers effectively. So now that we've discussed how to craft the text of your CTA with psychological insights, let's shift our focus to the design aspect. The design of your CTA button plays a pivotal role in drawing attention and encouraging clicks. And that's what it's all about, is getting them to click. At Pixel True, we employ a blend of design theory and user experience best practices to create buttons that are not just seen but interacted with. So let's break down the key design elements that make a CTA button truly click-worthy. First, consider the color of your button. The choice of color should stand out from the rest of your page, but it should also harmonize with your site's overall design. By using contrasting colors, it's a fundamental design principle here because contrast draws your eye. For instance, if your site's theme is predominantly blue, an orange button would stand out due to its complementary nature on the color wheel. Remember that the goal is visibility without clashing. Having said that, they've done a lot of research, and if you look at some of Neil Patel's work, he's a somebody who has done a lot of work in this industry about understanding what drives action on websites. They've uncovered that blue CTA buttons have the highest click-through rate. Utilizing red or pink has the lowest click-through rate because it to your user it signifies stop versus the decision to proceed. So next, let's talk about shape and size of CTA buttons. The color of your CTA, the size of your CTA button should stand out from the rest of your page. It should be large enough and easily clickable, but balanced enough not to overpower all of the other elements that are on the page. The shape, while it's often rectangular on most pages, can be rounded to soften the design. And that helps it to often feel more friendly and inviting rather than those hard corners. So rounded corners are not just aesthetically pleasing, but they also guide the user's eye towards the center of the button where your action words are. So typography is another critical element of designing a successful CTA. The font used in your CTA needs to be legible and large enough to read easily at a glance. You want to avoid overly decorative fonts that may distract from the clarity of your message. And spacing within the button, known as the padding, so the amount of space on either side of the wording, is also crucial. Adequate padding around the text ensures that the words don't feel cramped, and it makes the button feel easier to click by giving it a larger click box. That's incredibly important on mobile devices, particularly. You want to avoid just static and ineffective CTA buttons as well. So adding subtle shadows or a sense of depth on your website can make the button pop off the page as if it's inviting the user to press it. When you're looking at a keyboard or you're looking at any any screen with buttons, having something stand out by adding shadow draws your eye to it and makes you want to click it and see the effect of it. So this can be achieved through simple shading or 3D effects, which can increase the tactile feel of the button when viewed on a screen. However, it's essential to keep the effects subtle to maintain the professionalism and ensure the button doesn't look out of place on your website. So finally, consider interactive elements like hover effects, or as we talked about with HubSpot, a dynamic scroll-in effect, a change in color, brightness, or animation when users hover over the button can reinforce the idea that it's interactive and that it is meant to be clicked. These effects not only improve the user experience, but also add a layer of engagement that static buttons just don't provide. So let's talk about adding a sense of urgency. So we mentioned this a little bit earlier in the presentation. Um, Urgency is a really powerful motivator in decision-making processes. It taps into a basic human instinct, the fear of missing out, which we talked about earlier, called FOMO. When people perceive that an opportunity is limited, their desire to act quickly increases significantly. So let's explore how we can harness this psychological trigger to enhance CTAs effectively. One of the most straightforward ways to create urgency is through utilizing limited time offers. So these are clear, direct, and communicate a need for immediate action. For example, a CTA like sale ends tonight utilizes a time constraint that is easy to understand and hard to ignore. The ticking clock creates a psychological pressure that can lead to quicker decision making. It's about making the offer seem temporary and the opportunity fleeting. Similarly, scarcity can be just as compelling as a time constraint. When you inform customers that only a limited number of items or spots are available, it triggers that scarcity bias. People tend to place a higher value on items that are scarce. A CTA, such as only three left in stock, leverages this bias effectively, suggesting that a delay could lead to missing out on the opportunity entirely. This message and method works exceptionally well for products or events where supply can be limited naturally or artificially. So, creating a sense of exclusivity can also generate that urgency. It makes the offer so this involves making your offer available only to a select group for a limited time. For example, a CTA that says exclusive offer for members only, join today, can create urgency, but it also adds a layer of privilege, and that privilege also drives additional action. So it makes the action seem like entry into an exclusive club, which is even more highly attractive. You can also use direct language that communicates the finality of an offer. Phrases like "last chance to save" effectively conveys that this is the final opportunity to take advantage of an offer. The type of language should be used sparingly, though, and authentically to maintain trust and effectiveness with your audience. Combining urgency with social proof can really amplify its effect. For instance, showing that other consumers are making purchases, excuse me, can increase the perceived value of an offer. A CTA like join 20,000 others who have saved 50% today incorporates both the urgency of a limited time discount and the validation that comes from widespread adoption. So by incorporating these elements of urgency into your CTAs, you won't just drive action, but you'll drive immediate action. This approach is about tapping into inherent behaviors that motivate us not to miss out on something great. By clearly communicating the stakes and the scarcity, whether it's through time or availability, you compel your audience to act now rather than later. Remember, the goal is to make the prospect take action. That is too timely and too good to pass up. So at Pixel True, we specialize in creating these compelling, urgent calls to action that transform potential interest into concrete, timely conversions. So let's talk about adding value to your CTA. The value proposition is what differentiates a good CTA from a great one. It's not just about getting users to act, it's about making them want to act by clearly communicating what they stand to gain from by taking that action. So let's break down how to craft a CTA that are irresistible because they offer clear, tangible benefits. First and foremost, we want to focus on immediate gratification. People are driven to love instant rewards. So your CTA should make it clear what all users will be getting as soon as they click. For example, get your free ebook now implies that the user will gain instant access to valuable information right away. This kind of CTA works really well because it connects directly with the user's desire for immediate value. Sorry, just going to take a sip. Next, we want to consider using exclusivity to add value, and we just spoke about this. Offer something that can't be found elsewhere or that is available only through this specific interaction. For instance, a CTA like access exclusive tips when you sign up suggests that the user will gain something unique and valuable that's not available to the general public. This plays into the psychological preference for exclusive offers, enhancing the perceived value of the action. Then you want to use quantifiable gains. So make the benefits concrete and quantifiable. Instead of vague promises, specify exactly what the user will receive. So a CTA such as save $50 on your first order is effective because it puts clear, measurable value on the offer. This type of specificity, wow, I couldn't get that word out, can increase the credibility of your offer and boost the likelihood of conversion. Then you want to connect the benefits to your users' goals. And this is true of anything that you're putting on your website. You want to ensure that you are connecting directly with the pain and problem that your user is experiencing. So this requires understanding your audience very deeply. A CTA like start losing weight today addresses a specific goal that's common among fitness service users. By linking the action to the user's personal aspirations, challenges, or pain that they're experiencing, you make the CTA significantly more relevant and compelling than something that just says, learn more. So you want to be incorporating these emotional triggers that connect the benefit to the user's sense of identity or values. For example, join our movement to help save the planet can be a powerful CTA for an environmental organization because it not only offers a benefit, but also appeals to the user's emotions and values. It makes the action feel more meaningful on a personal level to that particular consumer. So by ensuring your CTAs are value packed, you not only motivate users to click, but you also do so enthusiastically because they understand what they're going to receive as a clear benefit. So each of these strategies that we just talked about, from emphasizing immediate rewards to aligning with users' goals, helps to build a compelling case for why users should take the desired action. Let's move on to strategic CTA placement. So, the location of the CTA on your website, on your website, landing pages, in your emails, or within your content can dramatically affect its performance. So, strategic placement can mean the difference between a user taking action or continuing to scroll. And what you're trying to do is really break that scroll to get them to move forward right now. So, let's dive into how we can optimize that CTA placement for maximum visibility and engagement. So, number one, we want to be above the fold. One of the most effective places for a CTA is above the fold. This term comes from the newspaper industry and refers to the content visible before the fold in the paper. So if you have a paper and it's typically folded as a sheet like this, anything that is above the fold when somebody goes to pick it up, that's the information that they're going to read first, and that's the information that is going to compel them to decide whether they are going to pick up that paper and buy it or whether they're going to leave it. So, placing your CTA here ensures that it's one of the first things a user sees when they land on your page, and they can understand what action they're going to be asked to take on the page if they continue through it. It also ensures that it's not going to be missed, and they know that if they've read and enjoyed the content on the rest of your page, all they have to do is scroll back up to click that CTA. Another strategic placement is at the end of high engagement content. So if you're writing an incredibly informative blog post or you have a compelling video, after you've provided that value through your content, you've built trust and interest. That's a prime spot to present a CTA. So a learn more, or a try now button at the end of an article capitalizes on the reader's heightened interest and the perceived value of the content they just consumed. Obviously, we talked about making it relatable to the content before. So learn more isn't necessarily the most compelling CTA that you would want to utilize. You'd want to do something like if it's a page about let's make an example. It's a page about you know how to fix an issue with your septic system, right? And it's telling them that the steps that they need to take. The next CTA at the bottom of the page maybe learn more about how to solve your septic issues now. That makes it urgent, that makes it relative to the content, and it's at a placement where they've already gone through and generated interest, that sort of thing, and it may connect them to a call with the plumber or with the company that is offering that information. So, another way is to place CTAs in line with relevant content. So, for example, if you're discussing the benefits of a specific tool or service within an article, embedding a get started CTA within that section can yield high converting rates. So if you've got a particularly compelling block of copy on your website, that may be a great place to put a natural and timely call to action that makes it feel like it's the next logical step for your user into getting more value from their engagement with you, whether it's through your website or whether it's by contacting you. Another useful placement is by utilizing pop-ups or slide-in CTAs, especially when they're triggered by specific user behaviors, such as the intention to leave a page, or after spending a certain amount of time on the site, or after getting to a certain spot in the page. These are particularly useful for offers, discounts, newsletter signups, as they capture the attention at potentially decisive moments for your user. Um, Lastly, don't be afraid to repeat your CTAs, especially on those longer pages like your homepage or a landing page. Having some CTAs appear at both the top and bottom of the page can be particularly effective for targeting users regardless of how they interact with your content. That repetition increases the likelihood that users will take the desired action as they're reminded of the call to action regardless of where they are on the page. So by understanding these strategic placements, it'll allow you to design your digital properties more effectively, ensuring that your CTAs are not just seen, but they're also acted upon by your users. In marketing, visibility is critical, but strategic visibility, that's crucial. So at Pixel True, we use these insights to place CTAs in positions that naturally draw the user's attention and encourage the action that we want by blending them seamlessly into the user journey to improve conversion rates. Let's talk about mobile. So it is imperative that you do not overlook the mobile experience. More than half of internet traffic now comes from mobile devices, which means your CTAs have to be tailored to meet the needs and behaviors of mobile users. So let's discuss some key strategies for optimizing CTAs for mobile conversions so that we can ensure that they're effective on a as effective on a smartphone as they are on your desktop. So let's think about thumb-friendly design. So mobile users are predominantly using their thumb to interact with content. So your CTA button needs to be easily reachable with their thumb. So this means placing your CTAs within the natural arc of a thumb's movement, generally at the center and bottom of the screen. For example, a buy now button placed at the bottom of the product page allows for easy, natural interaction without needing to adjust or change hand position. Mobile screens are also smaller, which means every single pixel counts. So you need to simplify your CTA design on mobile to ensure that it stands out without overwhelming the content on that page. So you can use large, bold fonts and bright, contrasting colors to make your CTA pop against the background content. Additionally, minimalistic design helps prevent the page from feeling cluttered, which makes the CTA more visually prominent. Another thing that we want to consider is speed. Speed is a critical factor in mobile optimization. So mobile users expect quick interactions. A slow loading CTA can lead to frustration and increased bounce rates. So a bounce rate is when they just bounce off of the page without taking action or without scrolling and reading. So you want to ensure that your CTAs load swiftly by optimizing your images and reducing unnecessary code. So this is using WebP images or rather than JPEGs. It's making sure that if you are adding an animation or anything like that, it's a very fast loading one. So utilizing JSON file types. There's a lot of different things that you can do. If you're wondering what the load time of your page is, you can just go to Google and search page load speed, and they have a tool there where you can put in your page URL and it will tell you all of the information about load time. It'll give you your first contentful paint, it will give you your largest contentful paint. Those are the two biggest things that are going to affect the load time of your page. And if you have a really high first contentful paint, you're much more likely to have a very high bounce rate. You can also go on to your Google Analytics and see what the bounce rate is for your page. If you're getting bounce rates that are in excess of 10-15%, chances are that there's a problem with your load speed and that you need to do some adjustments to your to the way that your page is set up. Let's talk about messaging on mobile screens. So we talked a little bit about the real estate on mobile screens is incredibly limited, and that user attention spans are much shorter than they are on a regular desktop. So you need to make sure that your CTA messages are direct and concise. So instead of a lengthy phrase like "click here to start your free trial and see all the benefits today," you want to streamline it to "start your free trial." This direct approach reduces the cognitive load for your users and makes the decision process quicker and simpler for them to take. You also want to consider mobile specific features. So this could be things like swipe gestures or the integration of mobile payment options like Apple Pay or Google Wallet within your CTAs. For instance, a CTA that utilizes a swipe gesture such as swipe to buy can align well with how users naturally interact with their device. So this not only enhances the user experience, but it also aligns with modern mobile usage behaviors. So optimizing your CTAs for mobile isn't just about scaling down desktop elements. It's about rethinking how mobile users interact with your content and what makes them click. So at Pixel True, we design with a mobile first mentality. Given that over 50% of website visitors are coming from that mobile environment, we want to ensure that CTAs are not only visible and attractive, but also inherently usable on mobile devices. So by focusing on these key areas, we help maximize the impact of your digital strategies across all the different platforms, ensuring that you have a seamless and engaging user experience that drives conversions. So, testing and refining CTAs. Never assume that your first draft is your best version. You need to go through the process of A/B testing. A/B testing is essentially testing different texts, colors, placements, and seeing what resonates best with your audience. So this is a great opportunity to utilize something like Google Analytics to track the performance through the metrics like click-through and conversion rates. So you want to take your website, make some changes to it, let a thousand, 2,000 users go through it, and see what changes that made in terms of bounce rates, click-throughs, conversions, time on page, that sort of thing, so that you can use that data to then refine your CTAs continuously. Remember that small tweaks can lead to significant improvements, and significant improvements, although they may not seem like much, going from 1% to 2%, 2% to 4%, when you're talking about thousands of visitors coming to your site, that's, we're now talking about tens to hundreds of different of increased leads that you could potentially be generating for your business. And if you were to get an additional 100 leads for your business, think about the difference that would make. Even if you're only converting 10 to 15% of those into new customers, we're talking dozens of new customers for your business on a monthly basis. So what are some real life examples of high converting CTAs from some well-known brands? So I'm going to give you some examples that not only illustrate the principles that we've discussed, but also how these strategies are applied in successful digital marketing campaigns. So let's start with the big one, Amazon's buy now with one click. This CTA revolutionized online shopping by simplifying the purchasing process. So the genius of this CTA lies in its immediate action. It reduces friction points by allowing users to make a purchase with a single click, bypassing the entire shopping cart experience. That immediacy and convenience significantly boosted conversion rates by capitalizing on the user's impulse to buy and the desire for immediate gratification. So next, let's talk about Dropbox. So Dropbox uses the try Dropbox business free. This CTA effectively is effective because it clearly communicates the value proposition. Trying Dropbox for free. It targets businesses looking for secure file sharing solutions and uses simplicity and clarity to convert visitors into the leads that they want. The word free plays a crucial role, tapping into the user's desire to gain something of value without financial risk. The same was true of this webinar. We offer this as a free webinar. That's playing a crucial role, tapping into your desire to gain something of value without any financial risk. Okay, next, let's talk about Netflix. So Netflix has the join free for a month. It's another example of an excellent CTA. It offers users a no cost, no risk way to experience their service, and it works effectively because it addresses common user hesitations about cost, providing a trial that allows them to evaluate the service before they have to pay. The time bound aspect for a month adds a sense of urgency, encouraging immediate sign up. You'll see this all over SaaS products. The try something for free for now, or try our scaled down version of our service for free. This freemium model works incredibly well. Next, let's talk about HubSpot. So it uses the CTA Get Started with HubSpot CRM today, and it draws in businesses that are looking to improve their customer relationship management. The action words of get started combined with the immediacy of today pushes users to take immediate action while they are there. The mention of HubSpot CRM clearly states what it is that they are signing up for, enhancing the CTA's relevancy and specificity to what it is that the user is taking action on. Another example would be Evernote, sign up for free. It effectively uses simplicity and a value offer to attract their users. So the promise of signing up for no cost lowers the barrier to entry, encouraging more signups, and ensures the process is as uncomplicated as possible. Evernote increases the likelihood that users will complete that action by utilizing this. So these are some examples that demonstrate how clarity, value proposition, simplicity, and strategic use of urgency can come together to create some incredibly powerful CTAs. So each of these brands has mastered the art of CTAs by focusing on what their users value most and reducing friction in the conversion process. As you're designing your CTAs, I want you to think about how you can incorporate these elements to optimize engagement and conversions for your business. So, in our journey to create effective CTAs, we've explored how to build them with precision and strategic insight. However, it's equally important to be aware of the common pitfalls that a lot of businesses fall into that can diminish the impact of your CTAs. So let's go over some typical mistakes that you should avoid and how to ensure CTAs remain powerful and persuasive. So using vague language. One of the most frequent errors in CTA design is the use of vague or non-specific language. A CTA like click here lacks the punch and direction that compels action. Instead, be specific and action-oriented. So use verbs that spur action and make it clear on what will happen when the user clicks. For instance, instead of click here, use download your free guide now, which tells the users exactly what it is that they're getting when they click the button. Another common mistake is overloading your audience with way too many CTAs. When presented with too many options, users can suffer from decision paralysis. That whole analysis paralysis piece. A state where they have too many choices and it prevents them from making any decision at all. So to combat this, we want to streamline your CTAs to 1 or 2 primary actions per page or section, focusing on what's most important for your conversion goals. So there's a heuristic called the single action bias. So if you only offer users a single potential action, they're significantly more likely to not take action at all. If you offer users two to three choices that will avoid that bias, and they will be significantly more likely to make a decision rather than no decision. If you wind up with four, five, six different CTAs, you're going to overwhelm that user. They're going to go into a paralysis analysis mode, and they're not going to make any design, and they will just bounce from your page. Another common mistake is utilizing CTAs that blend in the background and they go unnoticed. So avoid using colors, fonts, or sizes that don't stand out against your page's natural design. You want to ensure that your CTA is visually distinct by using contrasting colors, legible fonts, and the right type of button and dynamicism that makes it stand out. So make sure that the CTAs are touch friendly with large buttons, clear text, and tailored for smaller screens. Another thing is neglecting mobile users. So if you're ignoring the mobile experience, that's a critical mistake. You want to make sure that you're making that CTA work well on desktop, a CTA that is working well on desktop, maybe too small or awkwardly placed or hard to click on a mobile device. So in most design platforms, you're able to change the structure of your page. You can look at how it shows up on both desktop, tablet, and mobile. I would implore you to make sure that you are checking that so that your CTAs are working well on mobile devices. Lastly, a common oversight is not dedicating the time to test and refine your CTAs. So, what works well for one audience may not resonate with another. So, regularly testing different versions of your CTAs in terms of wording, placement, and design by utilizing A/B testing to gather that data on what performs best is going to be an incredible addition to your process and will ensure that you are maximizing the return that you're getting by utilizing what your users want. So, by avoiding these common mistakes, you can ensure that your CTAs are not just present, but they're actually potent drivers of user engagement and conversion. Remember, too, that every element of your CTA, from the text to the placement, should be purposefully designed to guide your users towards taking action. So, now, as we're wrapping up the session on creating high converting CTAs, let's distill everything we've learned into a concise checklist that you can take with you, so that it can serve as a handy reference guide for your design, so that you can implement and optimize all of the calls to action that you have on your website. So let's go through each item to ensure that your CTAs are not only designed effectively, but also aligned with best practices for maximum impact. So, is the text action oriented? Ensure your CTA uses strong, compelling verbs that incite action. So things like discover, start, join, get. These are all powerful motivators that prompt immediate action. The text needs to be clear, direct, and leave no ambiguity about what the user is expected to do or what they're going to gain by taking that action. Is your CTA visually compelling? So you want to check if your CTA stands out visually. It should be use contrasting colors from the rest of your page and catch the user's eye. The size and font should be large enough to be easily readable, but balanced enough to not overpower other elements on the page. And it needs to consider the overall aesthetics to ensure that it's appealing and inviting to your users. Is your CTA strategically placed? So make sure that you're reviewing the placement of your CTA. It needs to be positioned in high engagement areas where users are most likely to notice and take action. So common effective places include above the fold for immediate visibility, at the end of compelling content, or during natural transition points in the user journey. So any section where it makes sense that they would want to take action right away. Is the value clearly communicated? Your CTA needs to articulate the benefit the user will gain from taking the action you are asking them to take. So whether that's access to exclusive content, a free trial, a discount, that value proposition needs to be unmistakable and enticing. So is it optimized for all the devices? Make sure that your CTA is functional and looks great on all devices, especially mobile. It should be easy to click on any device with sufficient padding and responsive design to accommodate different screen sizes and orientations. Remember, too, the thumb swing that you have on a mobile device Is it going to fit within where their thumb is? You do not want to force them to have to move their hands to adjust their phone placement, because that will result in them not taking action. You're just creating an additional point of friction if you're doing that. And have you tested and refined your CTA? So you want to confirm that you've tested different versions of your CTA through A/B testing and other methods. One of the things that I didn't talk about before in A/B testing that I'll make sure to reference right now is don't make a whole bunch of changes at once. You want to do changes one by one so you can understand the impact that they are having on your CTA. If I go and change 6 different things on my CTA, I don't know which one increased or decreased the amount of traction that I'm getting, the amount of click throughs that I'm getting. You want to make sure that you're just changing 1 to 2 things at a time so you can understand the impact that they're making. So the checklist that I've just given you should be your go-to guide every time you create a new CTA or you optimize existing ones. So by following these steps, you can ensure that your CTAs are not just functional, but that they're powerful tools for converting your visitors into leads and customers. So at PixelTrue, we use this type of a checklist to maintain the high standards in our CTA designs, ensuring that every element is crafted for maximum impact and engagement with your visitors. So keep this checklist handy and refer back to it frequently as you work on your digital marketing strategies so that you can keep your CTAs sharp and effective. So now that you're armed with these insights and strategies, you're well on your way to crafting the CTAs that convert on your website or landing page. So I'll encourage you to download your free CTA guide for a deeper dive into effective CTA strategies. Make sure you check your email. We're going to be following up with this document. It's packed with tips and best practices that will help you refine your approach and achieve remarkable conversion rates. And with that, I just wanted to say thank you so much for spending time with me today. I hope that this session has inspired you to rethink how you create and use CTAs. Now, I'd love to hear from you. So we'll open this up to any questions. What challenges are you facing with your CTAs or any specific scenarios that you need help with? Let's discuss that. So you're welcome to use the Q&A session now. I'm going to stop the recording. Just want to say thank you again. And yeah, let's, if you need anything, please feel free to reach out to me. You can email me, warren@pixeltrue.com. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can connect with us on any social media platform. We'd be happy to set up a time and review your CTAs. If there's anything you need, if you want to just go through and have me take a look and give you some advice on it, I'd be happy to spend the time doing that with you. So let's stop the recording now.